What's going on, everyone? Cruzin Podcast. Last night, some pretty crazy stuff came out. Congress UFO UAP hearing in Mexico. They revealed some alien bodies, mummy bodies and stuff. So we want to talk a little bit about that. We want to talk about the trailer to Steven Spielberg's UFO documentary series called Encounters. It's all happening at the same time. And also NASA is doing a UAP presentation, and they're going to reveal some stuff as well tomorrow. So today, by the time this comes out, this podcast. So we're going to talk about that as well. And let's just get into it. Last night we were watching the Ahsoka series, the new episode, and then we saw on Twitter just in the Mexico hearing just about like UFO bodies, like these alien bodies. They're probably like 2 feet tall, and they just revealed it. And Ryan Graves was at the hearing, and a couple other people. Obviously, our first gut reaction was, "Holy shit!" Like, is this real? They're like 2 feet tall, big head. I'll have it up. I'll have the footage up while we're talking about it. Small weenies. Obviously, our first reaction was like, "What the hell?" Because they didn't just only show that; they also showed like UAP footage, which was really interesting. One of them was like an orb, like a glowing orange orb in the sky. And it reminded me of what James Fox had described in his footage that like Logan Paul apparently has that he doesn't want to reveal. I found that really interesting. But these things, they're really small. They're mummified. They're claiming it's from Peru. They found it like 2016, 2017. And they found it they're like 1,000 years old. But as of this recording that we're recording right now, right before we started this podcast, Ryan Graves just tweeted out saying that he came out to keep the movement going for UAP, to share his experience, but he didn't know that they were going to do that. And people are kind of calling it like a stunt. Like if it's a hoax or something, or if it's not legit. I don't know if it is or not. That's what I kind of like wanted to talk about today with that are these things, is it real or not? I mean, the way they look is exactly how they look in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, the Steven Spielberg movie. I'm convinced Steven Spielberg has some inside scoops. I don't know. Is it real? Is it not? What do you think? I'm on the fence.
I don't know.
What would Mexico gain from that?
My theory is like they're doing that to kind of like ruin the reputation of it.
Like if they were sent to do that?
Yeah.
Well, so I found out it was a journalist. It was a single journalist that did it.
Remember, what was that documentary that we saw? It was like, remember that mayor in Phoenix?
Yeah, I forgot which one. It was one of the James Fox ones, I think.
Remember, it was like that mayor or something in Phoenix or Las Vegas. I forgot where.
Yeah, it was Phoenix. The Phoenix Lights.
The Phoenix Lights. Remember, he was gonna speak about it, but then something happened, and he ended up making a joke out of it.
Oh yeah. So to give it like a little backstory, in Phoenix, I think it was like the 90s or something. I can't remember the documentary. I think it was one of the James Fox ones, or maybe not actually. I don't know. But there was like reports of like these bunch of lights in the sky, like these UFOs in the sky. It was like a huge thing in Phoenix, and the governor was like, I'm gonna find out, and he was gonna give a speech on it to kind of give what they found like in research. And for whatever weird reason, when he showed up to that conference, his demeanor changed, and he just kind of made a joke out of it. And they brought out like a person dressed up as an alien. And he was like, "Oh, we found out what it was," and they made it into a joke. Basically, I think they probably told him something like, "Hey, you can't talk about this, so figure it out, make a joke out of it or something. If not, it's your job, it's your career that you're, putting out there." And I think that's what happened. And that's a good example. I don't know if it was one journalist. I think his name was James Malsan or something like that. He's been caught before. Like he's been debunked before. I don't know. Like why now? Why, especially after a pretty like productive hearing, you have Ryan Graves there, who's very, he has high credentials, he has good credibility. And it was really interesting. I mean, these things, it looks just like the alien from Men in Black, that's controlling the guy's brain, and also from Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I don't know. I want to believe it, of course. Are people debunking it so quick because they don't want us? We're in this weird line where we want to believe. Well, no, we do believe in it, right? But then the second we get something like very good footage or evidence or something, we kind of just dismiss it right off the bat. We get very defensive, So we're looking, and if we get something that's really good, we're like, oh, that can't be real, So that's kind of like where we're at. It's very tough. I mean, to be fair, they are very small. They're supposed to be 1,000 years old. It's tough. I don't know what to believe about it. I'm on the fence. I don't want to say it's complete bullshit, but I don't want to jump fully into it. I don't know. Ryan Graves kind of said oh, this was like a step backwards for us. I didn't know that they were gonna, basically clearing himself from that. I don't know if that's to be safe because he doesn't know if it's legit or not. I mean, it is very theatrical to bring out 2 boxes and being like, here you go. But who knows? Honestly. But they put up links. They showed research, and they put out links for other people, for other scientists to do their own research on it. So it's definitely stirring up a debate. And I think that's the most important thing. And the interesting thing, too, is tomorrow, Thursday, the 14th, NASA is coming out with their own presentation or their own debriefing on UAPs.
Here's the footage. It's like little dot.
And that's what's going to be interesting. Is NASA going to actually play ball, or are they going to go what's his name? I think it's from Arrow, the one that did does the UFO hearings every week. I think it's Kirkpatrick. I think it is. I don't want to get it mistaken with the other congressman that's actually been really trying to get stuff out there. But the one that basically said, oh, we don't have any proof of anything of UFOs. But then when David Grush comes out, Ryan Graves and David Fravor, in that congressional hearing, they're like, yeah, no, we have bodies. We have, David Grush is saying we have alien pilots of these crafts and stuff like that. And he was just saying on a recent podcast that he did that it can go back towards the Manhattan Project, the Oppenheimer stuff, that there's a whole other side to the Manhattan Project that we haven't learned about. That when they passed that Secrecy for Atomic Energy Act or something like that, it was basically like anything atomic energy related would be sworn to secrecy. And it was very subtle, but he was talking about it. It's not just talking about atomic bombs. It's talking about anything with atomic energies, anything in that realm. That's crafts. So he thinks that Oppenheimer was a big part of that. And he thinks there's a whole other side to the Manhattan Project that involves UFOs, which is interesting. I've always said that. I feel like big parts of human history, UFOs have always been involved, but it's just been so secretive that it's not told or taught to us or anything. We don't know anything. And it's really exciting stuff when you really start to look at how deep this thing goes. And I just hope that this isn't a complete hoax, because then it sets you back. People think it'll set us back a couple years, because then now you have to try to get people to believe again, And I think with NASA, it's going to be interesting to see what they do. Because they could either play ball and actually reveal stuff,
I don't think so.
Or they're going to go the government route, we have no evidence of UFOs. Sorry. But it's independent. It's their own independent research, their own disclosure on stuff of what they see. I mean, it's NASA. You would think they would see a lot of shit, Yeah. I don't know. So that's going to be the 14th of September. I'm curious to see how that kind of goes. But I mean, the alien bodies, I don't know, man. The timing of everything too, right? And then we have this docu-series about UFO encounters by Steven Spielberg that comes out in a week or so. There's a lot of things back to back just kind of happening, and I don't know what to make of it. It's really interesting. It's really, really, really interesting, especially when you look at David Grush coming out. It's becoming it's there's no it's becoming kind of normalized in a way. I don't know what's to come of it. You know, I do feel like something is gonna be revealed. I don't know if it's this docuseries, but there is James Fox. I just read he has another documentary coming out next year that he's working on. He's almost done with it. He's doing his thing. I just don't know. I don't know if it's real or not. I don't know what to believe. I don't know. It's I don't know. It's interesting, especially when I was listening to like the David Grush stuff. He was saying about them possibly being like interdimensional and all that stuff. Like, I think George Knapp said it too on the most recent Joe Rogan podcast. He was talking about a book called the God of Eden or Gods of Eden, and it was like, what if like the aliens or the extraterrestrials are the overseers of everything, and we're kind of like the puppets, you know, and that's why there's war and that's why there's all this stuff, because they're the ones that are orchestrating all of that, like kind of like a chessboard, and we're just the pieces to that, you know. He says it's a very good book. I gotta read it. It's called The Gods of Eden. I have it on my cart, but it's really interesting what he was saying about that. And like, what if that's the case? You know, what if it's something like that, or if they're interdimensional? George Knapp also said like there could be like that possibility of like they're just around, they live here, but they're just in a different playing field. They're in a higher dimension. So it's like they can see everything we do. Like if you're in the bathroom, if you're somewhere, like they're just everywhere. They see everything. And he was saying maybe that's why the government feels like it's in our best interest not to know, because that's pretty disturbing, right? To feel like, yeah, you're just being watched all the time. I don't know. It's interesting. It's a lot of different theories with all that stuff. And, you know, I saw like another interesting example of like, with the dimensions, like, you know how like in the ocean there's the fish and, you know, all that stuff, right? Like that there's a whole other area of life forms down there in the ocean, and they don't have any concept of land, you know, like they don't realize that there's like land above them. All they know is like the ocean. But then for us, it's like we're on the land, but we don't have any concept of what's higher than us, whether it's in space or a higher dimension or anything. So it's kind of like that same cycle or pattern. It's really interesting, man. I don't know what I don't know what to make of any of it. It's very interesting. It's they're definitely way more advanced than us, spiritually or interdimensionally and stuff. I don't know, I find it really, really interesting, and I do hope more stuff comes out. I would like to know. And I feel like people should know, but it's true. It's a matter of, do you really want to know? Sometimes ignorance is bliss. You know, what if the answer that you're looking for is not the answer you were expecting or something? You know, what if it turns out, oh yeah, you're genetically engineered, and you know, we're just products of them or something. You know. Like what happens to society as a whole? Nobody's gonna want to work their 9 to 5 or like pay taxes or all these things that we're so just confined in that we think life is. Like it would shatter. Like society would collapse. You know, if finding out like, oh yeah, aliens exist and they, you know, they're interdimensional and they explore the universe, and we're just here like, oh yeah, I work, pay my bills, and that's it. You know, it just changes your perspective on reality, I guess. You know, it's really interesting. It's really interesting. I don't know what's next. Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp are on Joe Rogan. David Grush is doing his thing. It just needs to keep moving forward. Problem is, they're really trying to keep this a secret. You know,
that's the problem.
Like they will do whatever it takes, for us not to know. You know, I think David Grush has said too, like he has been like personally like threatened, you know, like his life has been a little bit in danger because of him coming out like that, you know. the Steven Spielberg docuseries Encounters looks really good too. I think that comes out September 27th on Netflix. It's just I based off the trailer, it's just a bunch of different UFO encounters and them trying to find out what the truth is, I guess, you know. And it's pretty common, man. A lot of people, if you ask one in every 5-10 people, there's a good percentage of them that they've experienced something, you know. I feel like I have once, and I know a couple people who have too, of just these crafts. Aaron Rodgers, we heard his story the other day. That was an interesting one, and how it was being chased by fighter jets. If you haven't heard that one, look it up. I mean, he went outside. It was like 5 a.m, and there was this big craft like hovering there, and then it just shot off, and then it was being chased by 2 fighter jets, and it was near a nuclear plant, and the nuclear plant alarm was going off. That's interesting stuff. How they're clearly just like really interested or attracted to nuclear energy, whether it's our nuclear bombs and stuff. And I don't know, but I am looking forward to the docuseries, and let's see what NASA says tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. Do you think the Mexican aliens, the memes are pretty funny, like E.T., like Mexican E.T. But let us know in the comments. Do you think it's real? Do you think it's a hoax? We're kind of like on the fence about it. I want to believe, but I don't know. We'll have to just wait and see how it goes tomorrow with the NASA hearing as well. But let us know, guys. Let us know in the comments. Real, fake? Are you big on the UFOs or are you not? And do you think we will eventually find out the answers, or will we always just be out of the loop on it? You know. Thank you guys so much for watching and for listening. We will be doing another podcast soon. And until the next one, goodbye.